Mrs. Greenapple. Yes, we are back continuing our track by track listen through to the 12 album with Our, which it's written in the Romanized characters, but Our basically I'm assuming they mean as in blue. And of course, Our Tonatu is one of the most famous Mrs. Greenapple songs, coming much later. Blue and Summer. So there's probably no connection at all. However, I just find that an interesting thing to mention. So we're on track 4 of the first full-length album from the band. And this is, obviously, the last 2 songs we had were singles with music videos, and we obviously had the album opener. And I think it's safe to say that this is the beginning of a exciting middle of the album where we have 4 tracks in a row that have no music videos. And as you guys might remember from if you've been watching these for a while, I'm always excited by the ones which have no music videos. Okay, well, the music video ones are exciting as well because you can tell it's a big deal for the band. But the no music video ones, you're like, that's where maybe some of the more quirky and out there ideas are hidden. And as someone who prioritizes songwriting and experimentation as the things that I enjoy most from a group, you know, any group can nail their core sound, and you know they will, because that's why it's their core sound. But it's always exciting to hear bands pushing the limits, especially when you're here to do a review. So I'm interested to see what we get from Al. I will say that so far, I did mention that this is an album that I think had not a bad start, but a bit of a wobbly start, and it just kind of slowly started to come together. We had an experimental song that was not experimental, a song that did a lot of interesting things, but maybe didn't 100% click. Then a song that was a really good, solid single, but maybe didn't have their most interesting sonic signatures within it. And then we had Public, which was really where everything felt like it came together. It was both catchy, single-like, but also at the same time had a lot of the playful, creative Mrs. Greenapple qualities. Now, of course, I know this is their first album, and we've already done full track-by-track listen-throughs to things like the most recent 2 albums here with Antenna and Attitude, and a lot of the singles and the opening couple of EPs. So it's fair to say that, I'm not expecting everything on this to be perfect, but I'm interested to see, because as always, I'm honest on this channel, and we're going to have a nice, interesting, honest talk about this. I just realised my camera makes everything look crazy if I don't. I've got another screen. I'm in a hotel here. I've got another screen. If I put a big white light on it, suddenly the colours on my camera look much better now. It's very hard to get. The only light I've got in this, I might as well show you. The only light I've got in this room is this big, bright, incandescent thing. And it's not a white light, and as a result, all the colours on my camera look very strange at the moment, and I haven't quite been able to get it balanced. But if I have the big TV next to me with just a big white screen, then it balances it out. You don't really care about any of this, but I'm just telling you anyway, because it's kind of interesting to have random stuff thrown into reviews. Isn't it? He says, watching as the audience retention goes down to 0. All right, let's jump in. This is Out by Mrs. Greenapple. Again, no idea what to expect, but I'm hoping that... And by the way, I did point out that even though this album has had not a bad start, just a slightly tentative start, I did point out that thinking about that, I think the same could be said for Attitude and Antenna. I don't think that either of those albums really started anywhere near with their best material. They kind of they built up momentum as they went on. So again, another reason to think there's a future precedent for 12 maybe doing that as well. Anyway, let's jump in. This is our track 4 from 12 by Mrs. Greenapple. All right, Sokoninaru. Oh yeah, that is really Sokoninaru. Yeah, that's a really cool high energy start. I'm liking where this is beginning. Let's see where it goes though. Back to a much raw sound now, much more raw sound. Building the tension back up. Loving this bounce on the snare there. That's a really strong rock chant for a chorus. I'm loving this kind of slightly tense, slightly emotional energy, but still this rolling punch of energy. This is a really good kind of powerful rocking part here. Alright, this is good energy so far. What are we going to do with the bridge? Bridge can make or break a song. Where are we going to go with this? I really hope they do something cool with this. Okay, solo. Alright. Nice little change of rhythm though. Oh, that's nice. Quickly building it back up. I like that. Almost playing like a third verse. Oh, I like changing the drums to keep it sounding fresh. Extra drama for the crescendo. Here we go. Yeah, that was so predictable. That wasn't though. I apologise, that ended suddenly, and just as it was ending suddenly, I got an advert for some AI software telling me how I should create music by instead getting AI to do the work for me. Okay, that's blocked. I've blocked that advert. Anyway, sorry, it's moved me on to the next song, but luckily I managed to pause it before it's played anything, so we can talk about Owl instead. Alright, because that ended suddenly, just went straight into that freaking advert. I get so many adverts for AI music creation. Absolutely despise it, especially because right now we are listening to real music made by a really talented songwriter. That's what we're here for. That's what Japan's all about. So freaking AI crap. Anyway, look, I have to say, this to me, I really enjoyed Owl, and the reason why I enjoyed Owl is because, again, I don't just look at the songs in their own individual, just what they're like as a standalone, but how they fit into the album. And it's really interesting that this is kind of, we've had some good rock energy on Public, and Speaking was kind of a little bit more pop rock, but this is interesting because it's very different from the three songs that's come before. It goes into a much more kind of high energy, turn it up to 11, constant rocking kind of power. But again, what's really good about this is even when Mrs. Green Apple are doing their more punchy, powerful, rocking songs, it's never just a wall of noise. The impact of those loud bits feels so much more impressive because of the fact that it's balanced out by all of the little moments that make you appreciate it more. I've often said this, if a song just comes on and it's like just full noise from start to end and just loud, 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 it doesn't feel loud. You've got to have contrast to give something punch, and this song Hour really delivers that by having those moments where just like get those little bits where it stops and starts, so it's just fractions of a second of silence mean that every time it comes back in, it really punches. You feel that energy. But not only that, you also get the bits in the bridge, well, the verse first of all, where it breaks down to we start off with like the really kind of, like I say, the studio produced sort of sound cutting, very sharp, punchy kind of intro. But then when you get into the verse, it feels much more chilled out, broken down. It's just kind of like one guitar playing, feels very natural. You get the drums come in, you've got that lovely bounce on the snare. The drums again on this album and on the first two EPs feel like they're recorded in a very kind of lively way. You really feel like, rather than the much more tight and studio controlled sort of drums that we're used to in like mainstream recordings, which again makes sense, you want them to be punchy, This feels a little bit more like the drums are still in that place where they sound like you're in a room with them. They sound a bit more physical, a bit more rounded. You've got some of the sort of sound of the drum kit itself. You can really feel like the drum kit is a like moving piece of equipment here rather than just a sort of sharp, punchy beat. And that comes across here. So when we get into that verse and she's like bouncing off the snare drum and you're getting a very sort of lively, funky kind of style of drum kit, it really sounds that way. I'm actually going to go back. It's probably get adverts. I'm going to go back and I'm going to play you a clip of that real quick. Ah, good. No adverts. I'm so glad I didn't have to. So let's have a little listen to some of what I'm talking about there. You really hear how you can hear like the hat sort of building up and getting as she's sort of like loosening the hat, how it's just getting more of a that sound, the way it loosens up, really feels lively there. And then listen to the snare. That kind of like rolling natural sound gives a lot of life to the song, and at this point it's kind of broken down, but it's still, you know, distorted guitars, still kind of the voice sounds a little bit tense, like, you know, we're building up to something. And so the song then builds upon that, and then you get into the chorus and you get all the way back to that kind of initial energy you had in those first few bars, the first few seconds of the song. It's fully back in there when we get to the chorus, and now we've got the big powerful melody and everything's really charging along, so it's turned up loud but you feel like it's been earned. And the keyboard's in there adding a little bit as well. Listen to the kick drums like on every single beat almost. And I really enjoy how the song so well builds up to that. It's a song that's basically just rocking throughout, but it builds up to it. And even when we get to the bridge, because I think by the time you get to the end of the second chorus, you definitely feel like this is a song that's kind of played all the tricks it has. So it kind of needs to do what a bridge is really there for in a lot of contemporary songs, which is it needs to kind of reset and it needs to sort of calm you down and then really sort of build you up to that last chorus. You know, really make the last chorus feel like it's more special than the two that come before. So they take a fairly traditional approach, just have the whole song kind of break down and go quieter. Is it around? Is it here? Where is it? There we go. The whole way that the vocals layer in, you get like, even then you got the those little sharp bits of guitar, just those things to like kind of, even though the song's broken down, it's not like turned into a different song. Those little sharp bits of guitar, it just kind of reminds you, yeah, this is still a loud song. We're going to a loud place. We just kind of hold it back on it. We're holding back on it. Builds up, builds up, builds up. And then, of course, by the time you get to the end, you get a few seconds of proper blast. And even there, just there, the drums are building up, really hammering away, hammering away, hammering away. The thing which is funny, though, is that you expect it to, like, burst into the last chorus, but then it just suddenly ends. So, you know, I'm not going to get that AI adverts on my screen again. But yeah, I just think there's something interesting about the way that it does that. The sudden ending is kind of cool, but I now really, just because of how quickly it ends, I really want to know what happens with this next song. Kikorida. It's so hard to read Japanese in Roman characters. Kikori do kei. I'm really interested to know how that continues. And I think when I do my reaction to that, I'm going to have to do it just go straight from one song into the other to get the full impact of how that happens. But for me, I really enjoyed this. It's because of the fact it ends in such a sudden way, it definitely feels like an album track. It feels like a transitional track, but I really like the energy. I like the variation. I just love the way it sort of powered through with such a creative charm and managed to be loud, but without, you know, not so obsessed with being loud and rocking that it didn't manage to think about how to give you that extra punch. As I say, a song like this that knows how to occasionally pull its punches back and then punch again feels much louder and heavier than, like, say, a metal song that's just kind of like screaming at you from beginning to end. Knowing how to like have the bits where you back off and then punch again, that's how you make a song really feel like it's rocking, impactful and energetic. I really enjoyed this. Definitely it's more of an album track than the single. It's not super catchy or super memorable or anything like that in its like identifiably stand out way, but what it is a song that in its own right is very effective, gives variation to everything we've heard so far on the album, And definitely one of those ones that, like I say, does what a quintessential album track should do. Even if it's not going to be one that's going to stick in your memory as being unique or stand out for catchiness or being for particularly novel and different, it's one of those ones where it's so effective in itself that every time it comes on the album and you suddenly remember it, you're going to go, yeah, this song. I should listen to this song more often. Anyway, there you go. Those are my thoughts. As always, get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.